A man opens his investment application in the morning. Yesterday, his account showed $10,000. Today, it shows $7,000. He stares at the screen, his heart drops, and the first question in his mind is simple. Where did my $3,000 go? Did someone take it? Did it move into a bank? Did Wall Street swallow it? Did another investor suddenly become richer because he became poorer? This is one of the strangest questions in finance because the answer sounds almost impossible. Most of that money did not go anywhere. It was never sitting in one place. It was a price, and the price changed. To understand this, forget the stock market for a moment. Think about a house. Imagine your house was worth $300,000 yesterday. That means buyers in the market were willing to pay around $300,000 for it. Now imagine fear enters the housing market. People lose jobs. Interest rates rise. Buyers become nervous. Suddenly, the best offer for your house is $250,000. Now your house looks $50,000 cheaper. But did someone walk into your house and steal $50,000? No, the walls are still there. The roof is still there. The kitchen is still there. The bedrooms are still there. Nothing physical disappeared. What disappeared was the old price people believed in. That is the first key. A market price is not money sitting inside an object. A market price is what people are willing to pay for that object today. Stocks work the same way. A stock is a small piece of ownership in a company. If people are willing to pay $100 for one share, then the market says that share is worth $100. But that does not mean $100 is locked inside the share. It only means the last buyers and sellers agreed around that price. Now fear arrives. Bad news comes. The economy looks weak. The company may earn less money. Interest rates may rise. Investors may start to panic. Now the next buyer says something different. I do not want to pay $100 anymore. I will only pay $70. That one change can make millions of shares look cheaper. And suddenly, billions of dollars of market value can disappear from the screen. But again, it did not disappear like cash from a wallet. It disappeared like confidence from a room. Let us make it even simpler. Imagine a rare toy card at school. Yesterday, one child paid $100 for it. Now everyone says the card is worth $100. The owner feels rich. Then, the next day, a rumor spreads. Maybe this card is not rare. Maybe many more cards exist. Maybe nobody wants it anymore. Now another child says, I will only pay $40. Suddenly, everyone thinks the card is worth $40. Did $60 come out of the card? No. The card never had money inside it. The belief changed. The price followed. This is what happens in a stock market crash. A company may still have workers. It may still have buildings. It may still sell products. It may still have customers. But if people stop believing the future will be as good as they thought, the price falls. The stock market is not only a money machine, it is a belief machine. It is people trying to guess the future. When they feel confident, prices rise. When they feel afraid, prices fall. That is why a company can lose huge market value in one day, even if its factories are still standing. The company did not vanish. The story around the company changed. Before the crash, investors may believe the company will grow fast. They may believe profits will rise. They may believe the economy is strong. They may believe the stock deserves a high price. Then something breaks. A recession fear appears. A bank fails. A war begins. Inflation rises. Interest rates increase. Profits slow down. Suddenly, the same stock feels dangerous. The old story says growth. The new story says risk. And when the story changes, the price changes. Now some money really does move during a crash. If one person sells a stock, another person buys it. The seller receives cash. The buyer receives the stock. Some investors move money into bank accounts. Some move money into government bonds. Some buy gold. Some short sellers may even make profit when prices fall. So yes, some money changes hands. But this is not the same as saying all the lost market value went into someone else's pocket. That is the misunderstanding. If the stock market loses $1 trillion in value, it does not mean one secret person gained $1 trillion. It means investors no longer agree with yesterday's prices. The old price was a promise the market was making. The crash is the market breaking that promise. Here is another example. Imagine a fruit seller has 100 apples. Yesterday, people were paying $1 for each apple. So the basket looks worth $100. Today, people hear the apples may spoil soon. Now buyers only offer 50 cents for each apple. The basket now looks worth $50. Did $50 fly out of the basket? No. The apples are still there. But buyers are scared. They offer less. The value falls. That is the stock market in a simple picture. A crash is not always money moving away. Sometimes it is buyers refusing to pay the old price. And when buyers refuse the old price, everyone holding that asset feels poorer. This is why your investment application can show a loss before you sell. If you bought shares at $100 and the market price falls to $70, your application shows a lower value, but the loss becomes real when you sell at the lower price. Before selling, you still own the same number of shares. You own the same pieces of the company, but the market is currently offering less for those pieces. This is why investors say prices can recover. If fear fades and buyers become confident again, the stock may rise. Then the old market value can return, not because the lost money came back from a hidden place, but because people are willing to pay more again. The price is rebuilt by belief. Now let us talk about the human mind. In a crash, people do not behave like calm calculators. They behave like humans, and humans hate losses. A green number feels good. A red number feels dangerous. When people see their portfolio falling, they do not only see a price change, they feel survival pressure. They feel regret. They feel fear. They imagine losing everything. They imagine being the last person holding a falling stock, so they sell. Then others see the price fall. They become afraid too. They sell. Then headlines become scary. More people sell. Then the market falls faster. This is how panic spreads. It is not only finance. It is crowd behavior. One person runs, another person sees them running. Then the whole crowd starts moving before everyone fully understands why. In the stock market, the crowd does not run with feet. It runs with sell orders. That is why markets can fall so fast. Confidence grows slowly. Fear moves quickly. People may spend years believing in a company, but one frightening week can make them doubt everything. This is also why stock bubbles form. Before a crash, people may believe prices can only go up. They see others making money. They feel left behind. They buy because everyone else is buying. The price rises. The rising price becomes proof. Then more people join. But if the story becomes too big, the price can move far away from reality. Then one day, the story cracks. People stop asking how rich they can become. They start asking how much they can lose. That is the moment a bubble becomes a crash. So where does the money go when the stock market crashes? Some of it goes to sellers who left earlier. Some of it moves into cash, bonds, gold, or safer places. Some of it becomes profit for people who bet against the market, but a large part does not go anywhere.